Do you remember the last time you visited the beach? Do you remember witnessing the carbon dioxide being absorbed by the ocean? Well, no, you didn't because you can't see carbon dioxide. Unless you can, which would probably be a bit weird. But anyway, my whole point is that you can't visualize the damage that excess CO2 does to the oceans. But to understand where this carbon dioxide is coming from, we must first backtrack to a source. You see, when I wake up, the first thing I do is go to the bathroom, turn on the light, and brush my teeth. Now, why is that important? Well, it's not because I'm afraid of the dentist, because that would be weird. It's actually because the electricity that is needed to run my lights is produced by an energy company. Now, like most other companies, mine gets its electricity mainly from coal and natural gases. When energy is harvested from these sources, heat isn't the only thing that is released. So is carbon dioxide through the process of combustion. The CO2 is then released into the atmosphere. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't turn on the light, because there are many other sources that release CO2, but what I am saying is that you should be wary of your footprint. No, not that footprint, this one, your carbon footprint, you idiot. Now that we've figured out how carbon dioxide is released, we can start talking about ocean acidification. To understand why this happens, you have to remember that the ocean absorbs around 25% of all carbon emissions and contains 93% of Earth's CO2. So, when CO2 dissolves in seawater, a chemical reaction occurs. It reacts with water molecules to create carbonic acid. This newly formed acid releases hydrogen ions, lowering the pH of the water. To put it in perspective, the pH scale ranges from 0 to 14, with 7 being neutral. Values below 7 are acidic, while values above 7 are basic. As more CO2 is absorbed, the ocean becomes slightly more acidic. Now here's where the crucial connection lies. Marine organisms that rely on calcium carbonate to build shells and skeletons are greatly affected. The increased acidity in the water makes it harder for these organisms to extract carbonate ions they need. Corals, mollusks, and other shell-building creatures are particularly vulnerable. In more acidic waters, the calcium carbonate structures they create can dissolve faster than they can build them. Imagine, you want to build a sandcastle, but the tides are breaking it down faster than you can rebuild. There'd be nothing you could do about that. I mean, I guess you could just move, but shut up, you're ruining my video. Now let's take a moment to talk about the indirect effects of ocean acidification. Coral reefs, often referred to as the rainforests of the sea, are among the most biologically diverse ecosystems on the planet. They provide shelter, food, and breeding grounds for countless marine species. Coral reefs are basically food webs where each species plays a role in maintaining the balance. Small herbivores graze on algae, preventing it from overwhelming the coral. Larger predators keep the herbivore population in check. As ocean acidification weakens coral structures, the protective habitats for various species diminish. When coral declines, the entire web is disrupted. When the coral structures deteriorate, certain fish species lose their homes, leading to reduced populations. This in turn affects the predators that rely on those fishes as a food source. The ripple effect doesn't stop there. As fish populations decline, the entire balance of the ecosystem can shift. Predators may struggle to find food, causing additional stress on the ecosystem. Think about it like when there was a shortage of Popeye chicken sandwiches, except this was different because everyone involved behaved maturely and respectfully in regards to this situation. These changes don't just affect marine life, but also the humans that rely on them for food. For many coastal communities around the world, fishing isn't just a way of life, it's an essential source of food and income. Fish provides sustenance for millions, and fisheries contribute significantly to local economies. However, the impacts of ocean acidification pose a significant threat to fish populations, and this threat extends beyond the marine realm. As ocean acidification affects fish habitats and the availability of food sources, fish populations can dwindle. This decline can disrupt traditional fishing practices and put pressure on the availability of seafood. Imagine a scenario where fish stocks decrease. Coastal communities that heavily rely on fishing may face reduced catches and lower incomes. Empty nets mean less fish to sell, impacting the livelihoods of fishermen and their families. This economic strain can have a domino effect on the entire community, and it's not just coastal communities that feel the impact. The seafood industry is an integral part of the global food supply chain. Imagine fewer fish available for processing and distribution. This can lead to rising prices for seafood products around the world, affecting both consumers and economies. So I hope you're ready to pay $20 per pound of catfish that you buy at your local supermarket. Or maybe you prefer lobster, but probably not the case though because you're a brokey. But if you weren't, you'd also expect their prices to rise. One of the key steps in mitigating ocean acidification is reducing the carbon emissions that contribute to the problem. Transitioning to renewable energy sources like wind and solar power is crucial. So, you should sell your car and take your kids' college tuition to buy solar panels. Additionally, innovative technologies that capture and store carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, coupled with long scale rainforest efforts, play a significant role in reducing carbon dioxide levels. Conservation efforts also play a vital role in combating ocean acidification. Establishing marine protected areas and supporting habitat restoration projects can provide refuges for vulnerable species. So, yes, that means you should stop throwing your trash into the beaches. But remember, addressing ocean acidification isn't a single solution, it's a multi phase effort that requires collaboration on global, national, and local levels. Small changes in our daily lives can have a collective impact on reducing carbon emissions and mitigating the effects of climate change. Here are some actionable steps you can take. Save energy at home. Install energy efficient appliances. Use LED light bulbs and properly insulate your home. Set your thermostat to conserve energy when you're not at home. Eat sustainably. Choose locally sourced and seasonal foods. Reducing meat consumption and supporting sustainable agriculture can lower your carbon footprint. So throw that bag of chips away and grab some vegetables. And besides, you probably need it. Compost organic waste. Composting reduces landfill waste and methane emissions. It also enriches soil, supporting healthier plant growth. And finally, educate others about this issue.